Good morning, everyone. Glad
Hey.
you are with us today. Hope you're having an awesome morning. We are doing good. We're getting everything ready for the week, and nothing really exciting is happening. Oh, wait. Yes, we had Valentine's Day yesterday.
Wow. Glad it was forgettable for you.
It was super exciting. Actually, it was fantastic. Thomas knocked it out of the park. He's an amazing guy. And we will tell you about that when we start recording the podcast. So you'll just have to wait to hear about exactly what that was, because I got to tell the podcast listeners as well. But yeah, we've had a nice day yesterday, kind of celebrating each other. Got a little bit of work done in between here, there, and the other.
Yeah.
And we're gonna work this weekend. Got a lot going on this weekend. I've got a paint job. You've got all kinds of stuff to do.
But I want to hear about what you did for Valentine's Day. What was something special that stuck out to you? So drop it in the comments there on YouTube. And I'd love to be able to read about what some of those things are.
Well, and what's cool about that, too, is then other people can get ideas maybe for what they could do either next year or what they could do on a date night or whatever else.
Exactly. And that's the cool thing is you can go and read about, oh, man, that's a great idea. Let me tweak that just a little bit for what we like to do. But
it's collaboration.
it's a way to help out other people. And some of us need your help and ideas. So drop me your ideas right there.
Actually, that's me who needs your help and ideas. This guy's full of ideas. You're good to go.
So
it's me. I am the problem.
Let me explain to you how bad Lysandra is at this. So this past weekend, we went to a couples seminar over in Sarasota. And a friend of mine was leading it. Ryan was leading it at his church. And he wanted to play this game ahead of time. So he got all these different questions, and the couples were going to answer them. And then see if their answers match, and you earn points for each of these.
I'm so bad at these.
So he's asking me the questions before anybody gets there. Because he's kind of trying to feel out if the questions are too easy. And one of the questions was, what's the date of your anniversary? And I told him if either of us gets that wrong, it's going to be Lysandra. So the event starts, and we start answering these questions. And we come together to compare answers, and Lysandra missed the anniversary question.
I was only off by a year.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good defense or a bad defense. I was off by 1 year. I did have the month and the day correct.
Which helps you celebrate it, but still.
Yeah, the year was off.
I'm glad it was memorable for you.
I'm not great with dates and remembering things and celebrating things. I need help with that. And he's a good helper. So, thank you.
Do you know when your grandma's birthday is?
February 8th, but I don't know her the year. Does that make it okay?
No, but I'm just saying. You remember that, and she's not been around for a little while.
But I got the month and the day right on our anniversary.
Yeah.
So it's just, I have a problem with years. That's what it is.
Gotcha. Years.
Hopefully he bought that.
I'm not buying it.
I try. I'm working on it. Okay. Should we go ahead and get into this parenting podcast
No,
where it's not about marriage?
Wait, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
What if we just, on your wrist, tattooed the date of your marriage?
I don't want to do a tattoo. It's not me.
Oh, yeah, but then you would always know. Like the answer's right there.
Yeah, I don't take enough quizzes on marriage or our marriage to need that.
I really want to amp up the number of quizzes on marriage we're taking. So it's like having your own personal cheat sheet.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to take any more marriage quizzes. I'm so bad at them. I ruin them.
You're like, his eyes are blue.
I know that.
And start just all the information about us right here on your arm.
Oh, you're making me look bad. Can we move on?
Well, at least you're pretty while you're looking bad. That helps. How's the coffee?
Good. I need to finish this cup, though.
Yeah. That's kind of what we're waiting for, because otherwise you're going to be chugging it while we're recording.
I'll chug it right now.
All right. Chug, chug, chug.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's going to be super caffeinated for the first half of the episode and then drag in the second
later.
half.
That was toasted coconut coffee. It's very good, by the way. Good ice water, too.
Yeah. Oh, before we get started, we're going to jump in. We made an announcement in our Facebook group this past week. So if you're not in the Facebook group yet, make sure you hop in the group to see what special project we got coming down the pipeline.
Alrighty.
With that, gather around, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas. This is my wife, Forgetful.
Truth. Hello, and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 125 of the Family Meeting podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about parenting challenges through life stages. Every stage of parenting has its unique challenges and joys. And we want to just talk about the temptation to not only spend time or invest in families that look like ours or that are in the same stage as we are, but we also want to think about how we can invest in families who maybe don't look exactly like ours and how we can bless them. And we also want to kind of discuss the dangers of thinking that every other stage must be nice. Oh, it must be nice if your kids were that age. Must be nice to whatever. Because if we focus on the difficult aspects of our current stage, we may end up finding ourselves wishing away the moments that we're meant to enjoy, and you can never get those moments back.
You absolutely cannot. And every year that goes by just reminds me how quickly every year goes by.
Yes.
Because you just turn around and boom, your little toddlers are teenagers who are taking college courses.
I feel like this episode may end up making me cry. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through.
Yeah, very emotional.
Very.
But this episode was inspired by a social media post by Dennis and Hannah Fountain.
Shout out to the Fountains.
Yes, what up? And thank you for giving us permission to kind of take your content that you had thrown out there in a post and turn it into a podcast episode. We appreciate that. So with that, let's see. We're talking about stages and how every single stage is different. And we've talked about this in the past, the parenting stages, but I really loved each and every stage. Each stage had its own challenges. Each had its, great things about it.
What was your least favorite stage thus far? I mean, our oldest is 17, so obviously that's as far as we've come in the stages. What's been your least favorite stage?
I'm usually pretty good at choosing things like this. I honestly don't know. Because even the hardest, like some of the hardest, like when they were toddlers, honestly was some of the most enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think I can pick what your least favorite stage was.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think your least favorite stage was when they were infants and they were so dependent on me because I was nursing, and they also weren't like playful. Now, you loved cuddling.
Yeah, I definitely loved that.
But you didn't really have as much time to cuddle as because they were always nursing or sleeping,
I was working,
you were working. Yeah, so I think that because that was the most like disengaged. They were not really engaged with you. And as soon as they hit toddler, when they were like crawling and running around, they started playing with you and you could make them laugh, and then you really had fun and it went on from there. But I think your least favorite was infant.
I agree with that, probably. What about you?
A potty training, which is a small portion of time in a stage. But I will tell you what, when you are in that moment, in that potty training stage, it does not feel like a small amount of time. And some people work at potty training for years, like a couple of years. So, and what happened with us is like, I would get one potty trained, and by the time the first one was potty trained, the second one was going into the beginning of potty training. So I potty trained.
For what felt like forever?
It was basically like, 3 years, a tiny break, and then another, year or something of potty training. So I really didn't like that.
And every stage is different and so unique. And with each stage, your parenting style has to change. Mm-hmm. And your relationship between you and your children change as your children grow. Now, Andy and Sandra Stanley have a new parenting book out.
Yes.
That is absolutely fantastic. And one of the things that they talk about...
Excuse me?
I love how you always sneeze towards me in my microphone.
Oh, I'm trying to sneeze behind your back so that you're a wall, and it will cut off the sound. Is this not working?
No.
Should I be sneezing that way?
Yeah, away from both microphones.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I want to apologize to the podcast listeners for having to hear me sneeze. I'll work on that.
But what I was saying is in their parenting book, they really emphasize the danger in parenting with the wrong style in the wrong stage. Mm-hmm. And so understanding what stage your children are in and then parenting with that style. And if you have children spread out and they're in multiple stages, you cannot treat them the same.
Right.
As far as the way that you parent them. Obviously you love them the same and all those sorts of things. But each stage requires a different style, and your relationship with them is going to be just a little bit different. Nothing stays the same as they grow, and that's okay. We can have reactions to the changes that aren't okay, though. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
And if you want to dig deeper into parenting stages and really talk about the different stages of parenting, we have 2 episodes available for you on this podcast. They are episodes 106 and 107. You can go back and listen to those episodes on the changing, the changes in parenting style and the stages of parenting. 106 really deals with like infancy to graduation, high school graduation. And 107 begins at that high school graduation and parenting adult children. So it really focuses in on that last stage of parenting. So go back and check those out if this is something that you're interested in and you want to dig a little deeper into it. Today, however, we want to focus first of all on the dangers that can come as we compare our stage of parenting with others who may be in a different stage. And so we really need to think about that. I know that it has been really easy for me to think, man, if my kids just were a little older, life would be easier. You know, back when you're tying everybody's shoe to get out the door. And of course, I did as many like buckles as possible.
Oh my gosh.
But when we had 4 children, 5 and under, and just tying all their shoes just to get outside, to go to the park, zipping up the jackets. Everyone had to stand there and wait for me. And I'm one person and I'm doing this for all 4 kids. And I absolutely thought, oh, it'd be so nice if they were just, 8, 9, 10, 11. That'd be so nice. And so we have to really think about that. Every stage has its own challenges.
And so talk about some of the challenges, all right? Looking at the early stages. So when your kids are small, you've got diapers.
Oh my goodness.
How fun is that?
We had so many diapers. We used to buy them by like the box at Sam's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had so many kids in diapers.
For so long.
Yeah.
Well, and what's funny though is we have a lot of funny stories about the diaper stage.
Yes, we do.
Now, it wasn't fun in the moment. Some of it was like when...
Well, you had fun.
I had fun. Like when Isabella had this poop fountain going on all over you and the floor and everything else.
Yeah.
Like I really thought that was funny.
She was just pooping on me. And I'm like, help me, get a towel, get something, give me wipes. And he just sat there and laughed at me.
Or the number of times you went into the wrong restroom because you were rushing to change a diaper explosion.
Yes. Yep, totally changed a diaper in a men's bathroom with men using urinals behind me. And I was like, I think I'm in the wrong bathroom.
At first you thought they were in the wrong bathroom.
Yes, I did. So that's kind of a funny story. But diapering, that's a tough stage.
You've got the fits.
Oh, yeah.
And the fits are still there when they get older, even as teenagers sometimes.
Yeah.
They're a lot different though when they're young. And you're dealing with these tantrums in the middle of the store. I'll never forget, like, you were rarely gone. I think you went to some sort of women's retreat or something. Yep. And I had all the girls, and I remember going into Hy-Vee. Usually when you were gone, it was just, actually, not, it was. it is, I'll take the kids in and let them get like whatever they want for a TV dinner or something like that, because Lysandra doesn't do TV dinners.
No, yuck.
And so for all the rest of us, it's like it's like a special thing.
It's so funny that TV dinners are the treat around here.
Yeah.
That says really bad things about my cooking.
But it's just because you get to literally have whatever the meal is you want.
Yeah.
And so taking them in to get TV dinners, and one of our daughters, we don't name their names typically when they do something wrong and when it's a negative. So I kind of want to start something with this episode. I was thinking about this past week that I want to start. One of the names that Lysandra wanted, and my mom wanted to name one of our daughters, was Elizabeth.
Yes, my mom, your mom, and I were both on you to let me name one of the daughters Elizabeth.
And that just wasn't a name that I wanted. So what I thought we could do is whenever something negative is happening, we just call it Elizabeth.
Call that naughty child Elizabeth?
Yes.
Like the naughty stepchild.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
So
People are going to get confused.
they won't. They'll get it.
Okay.
Anyway, Elizabeth, as we'll call her, names are changed to protect the innocent or the guilty, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Starts throwing a tantrum, like literally as soon as I get in the store. And I know some people just throw the word literally around. We walked in the door, and before I could put her in the shopping cart, she was throwing a fit.
What does her throwing a fit look like? What was Elizabeth doing?
Screaming, crying as loud as she possibly could. And so of course everybody's looking at you.
It's the worst.
And man, I remember just getting so angry. There's few things in life I think that will anger you more than your children embarrassing you in public.
And you hit the nail on the head right there. That's the bad thing about fits. I mean, obviously they're loud, they're annoying, they slow you down, they're inconvenient, and all of that stuff. But the worst part about fits is that it embarrasses you and you become ashamed. And that is really at the heart of what makes a parent angry when they throw a fit, especially, obviously in public.
It's our own pride. We want
It is our
everybody
pride.
else to look at us and think, what a perfect parent.
What a great family. You've done such a good job with those kids. Blah, blah, blah.
It's our own pride and ego. But
Exactly.
So I still remember that to
the
this
fits are
day.
tough.
Yeah.
Constant messes. I mean, when you're in that beginning stage of parenting, it looks like the Tasmanian devil
Yeah.
has gone
Very
through
well.
your house over and over, and then you clean it up, and then it's there again, and it just doesn't stop.
Often, right when you clean something up, something else is getting destroyed or dirty, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth, what did you do now? We got the sleepless nights.
Yes. Yeah, whether it's nursing, kids not sleeping, throwing fits, nightmares, all that stuff.
Kids getting sick in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the sickness happens in the middle of the night for some reason.
All right, we have to remember the next time we have a family meeting on the family meeting, when we have all of our kids on there, we have to ask them to talk about you in the middle of the night, and if they were ever to come into our room in the middle of the night. It is hilarious to hear these girls imitate their father when they were little. It's so funny. So we
Yeah.
have to remember that.
Well, I'll give you the gist of it. It's like, it goes something like this. Oh, sweetie.
Yeah,
Are you okay? What's wrong?
You don't ever sound like that.
Yeah, I think I do. That's the way it sounds to me.
Yeah.
But you've got the doctor visits.
Yes. When
Time-
they're little, you're constantly going to the doctor. I don't even think that you really understand that as much as I did, because I always did all the doctor's appointments unless there was a real reason I couldn't.
I did emergency visits.
You did emergency visits. I did like the regular, and with 4 small children all at the same time. I was in the doctor constantly.
But you've got that. You've got teaching, protecting, answering all
Oh, my.
the questions.
Yeah.
Mommy, why?
Elementary
Daddy, why? Why? Why?
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally like the annoying birds on that stupid show.
Mine.
Yeah.
Nemo.
But it's why.
Yeah.
Feeding, hauling stuff to and from the car, realizing you don't get to do what you want anymore. And then, bottom line, it comes down to serving
Serving your family.
and praying to do it selflessly.
And this is a hard stage. These beginning stages, it's hard. And this beginning stage really that we've just talked about kind of begins there at birth, but it's going into elementary and everything. And the thing to beware of is you can really wish away your present when you wish for the next stage of parenting.
Yes.
So don't do that. And I will say this to all of you young moms out there. This is my one major regret from when my kids were little in this stage. I wish I would have videoed more. All right, you ready to sound really old, babe?
I am old.
Okay, now you're going to sound old. And I'm going to sound old too. When our kids were in this stage, we had to go get the camcorder with the little mini tapes and put a little mini tape in and then record them playing or whatever. And then you would have to take that tape and put that tape in a VHS tape dock thing.
Converter.
And then you would put it in your VCR and you could. So that's what it took to video back then. And so I didn't video very often, like almost never. I remember like begging you, can you get out the video recorder? Please, please can we get it out? But I never videoed myself because it was like technology.
Yeah.
Now it's so much easier to video. So young moms, video your kids. You will want to be
It
able
must
to watch
be
that.
so nice to be able to just pull out your phone and record your kid whenever you want.
That is my one regret, though, is that I wish I would have videoed more. So that's my advice to you, young moms. But we can assume that every stage must be nice or that they have it so much easier than we do. And when kids are young, we think it must be so nice to have teenagers because they're independent and they can drive and they can go get the groceries for you and everything. You can leave anytime. You don't have to just be home. Do you remember when they were little, from like 1 to 3, it was like the world stopped. No matter what was going on at 1 to 3, I had to be at home so that those kids could take a nap, because if they didn't take a nap, they were going to be
all
monsters.
hell broke loose, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like you didn't risk it, okay? If it was 1 to 3, you were at home for nap time. And of course, when they're really little, it's like 10 to noon is nap too or whatever.
But we totally understand it when we have like young couple friends and they're like, we have to go now.
Yeah.
Like, we know. We
like,
understand.
Let me help you get to the car.
Get that child home to a nap.
Do you remember trying to keep the kids awake in the car
Yes.
long enough so that when they got home, they would still take their nap? Because if they got like a 20-minute nap in the car, they were going to miss their 2-hour nap at home.
And then it would be
going to be
nightmare.
Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny to think about that stuff because for us, that's far removed.
But it's part of that. It's part of that early stage.
That's right.
And
yeah.
you start to look at the difficulties of the stage you're in, and you compare that to the positive things of the stage somebody else is in, and well, man, it'd be nice to be in that stage, and you kind of wish away their younger years. Honestly, there's going to be times when they're older that you wish you could go back and do the doctor visit one more time. Mm-hmm. You wish you could take those toddlers through the Hy-Vee store and have them pick out their little TV dinner, even if Elizabeth is screaming her full head off. So don't wish those days gone, because they're going to be gone fast, and you won't be able to get them back. Another stage. All right, so we're moving on from the early stages here. Some of these middle stages that we've talked about, and in episodes 106 and 107, we kind of lay out 6 different stages. And anybody you talk to about parenting, they label the stages different, which is fine. So you've got those somewhat middle stages here, where you've got pushback and communication struggles, and all of that is okay. It's part of them learning to gain independence. Which, remember, the goal is that your children can go out in the world on their own and make an impact, right? So part of that is learning how to be independent.
Right. And what we want really is for them to become completely independent of us and completely dependent on God. That's really the goal. Independent of their parents, completely dependent on God. And really, we're walking them through that, and we're kind of almost passing them off to start their own journey with the Lord.
But there's going to be growth pains involved with that. So there's going to be defiance at times. There's going to be acts of rebellion. There's going to be
bad
attitudes and talking back.
Eye rolls. Sighs.
And you have to remember they're going through all these physiological changes as well. They're going through mental changes and learning how to communicate all that. It's tough. It is a tough season of life for your children, and it's not easy parenting it either.
Right.
But you've got those kind of struggles that you're dealing with. You've got the enrolling them in whatever it is they have to be enrolled in.
Oh my goodness. How many hours do I spend on the computer filling out registration forms, insurance forms for all their sports, all their camps?
Yeah.
I mean, he watches me, and he's a wonderful guy. And whoever is doing the enrollment forms, the other parent needs to be like Thomas and be like, thank you for spending so much time doing that. He always thanks me. Like, I'll be on the computer for quite a while, or on my phone, whatever I'm using. He always says, thank you so much for taking so much time to enroll our kids in whatever it is.
Well, and it's because that administrative stuff, like, that is death to me.
Yeah.
It's like working with my worship pastor, Rusty, here. Rusty handles the administrative stuff. And I'm constantly thanking him, like, dude, thank you so much for doing that. Because if I had to do that, I just don't.
Well, you might not do it.
Exactly. I might find a different profession or something if I had to do that. And the same is true with filling out all these forms and stuff. Like, when push came to shove and I had to actually do it, I probably would do it.
I know what you would do. You would teach your daughters to do it.
I would definitely teach them earlier to do it.
That's what you would do.
But the number of hours with that, I think about the number of hours you have spent on the phone since we moved to Florida about insurance.
Yeah, and I'm not even done. It changed again.
So, like, Isabella was supposed to have a telehealth appointment the other day, and Lysandra gets a phone call that they no longer take our insurance.
Yep, that doctor is out of the program.
For whatever reason. And, of course, they couldn't have told us before the day of the appointment. Like, it just happened that morning.
Well, and she's getting low on a prescription that she needs for her thyroid.
That she takes every day.
Yep.
And so here Lysandra, once again, hops on the phone for hours to try to figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's tough. So, yes, if you're not the one on the phone or the one filling out the forms, do be appreciative. Because even if they enjoy doing that stuff, let me tell you something. That gets old, especially when it's the same form 4 different times for kids.
Yes, over and over.
But you've got all the programs and activities,
sports practices,
the driver's licenses.
There's another one. I spent hours in line with them at the DMV, and then what happened? Oh, it was just terrible. It was like so bad. We were there for so long, and then we came home and we like blew up. You and I had a fight that day and I think it had to do with the DMV. Like, do you remember?
I absolutely do not remember at all. I'm like sitting here like the rest of the audience waiting to see what the argument was about. Do you want me
to tell the story in the middle of this podcast?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
Okay.
Like, I've got nothing to hide, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, and we were both wrong, but like most fights, we were both wrong.
Yeah.
We had co-op that morning. So all morning I'm like with the kids, I'm teaching at the co-op. I'm helping the kids, with their co-op stuff. I leave from co-op, go directly to the DMV and stand in line for like hours. I don't even know how long it was. It was probably 2 hours. By the time we got home, it was nearing 2:00, and myself and all of the kids, none of us had eaten. And so right away, we go to the kitchen and we start cooking.
Oh, I remember this now.
Yes, we start cooking, and I'm just so exhausted. And I, of course, am getting ready to go to the next thing. Like, I've got the next thing coming. And you come down the stairs. We're all dishing out our food and we're eating. You come down the stairs from your office and you go, "Oh, there's no more food left?" And you were like, I guess I'll just have tuna. So you like opened a can of tuna and like sadly ate tuna. You like ate tuna with your head down. You were so upset. And at first I was like, well, just have my food. I don't care. You can eat my food because I really don't care. Hot food, cold food. It doesn't matter to me. So I was literally fine with you eating
But you
my
do
food.
not want to eat a can of tuna.
I would have chosen a salad. But anyway, so you were really upset. And my first response was to feel guilty and feel like I'm a terrible wife. And you walked up the stairs and all of a sudden that like guilt turned to straight anger. I was so angry with you. Because I was like, you should be cooking me lunch. I'm like, how is it that I go to co-op all day and then I stand in the DMV for your children? You know, that's the moment when they're your children.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you come down and act like I'm terrible because I didn't save food for you. It was 2:00. It had to be 2:00. It was something. It had to be just based on how long co-op lasts. Anyway, so we got through the rest of our day. And then that night we went for a walk. And we kind of had it out.
Yeah.
I cried.
I remember this now.
And you were totally caught off guard. And you were like, wait, what? I'm in trouble? Anyway, eventually we both apologized. And I was like, I should have thought of you. And you were like, I should have thought of you.
Yeah.
Which is most fights. Anyway, that was the driver's license story.
So, DMV. But you got, maybe for you it's passports.
Yeah.
W-2s. Your kids are working. Guiding them along in good friendships.
That takes a lot of work.
It does. And they have to learn how to have friendships and be friendly and work through some of those social issues.
We wrote a blog, and I can't remember if this was, if it's on the family meeting or not. We need to find that. But it's all about how you want to have your children around good friendships and have good friends in their lives so that when they stop listening to you and they start listening to their friends, they're still making good choices. Homework.
Homework.
So much homework. Braces. Thank God we haven't had braces in this family. I don't think anyone in this family needs braces, and I'm really thankful. Sleepless nights yet again. Teaching good character. It's a full-time job.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And you realize you still don't get to do what you want to do. That was in the infant stage, the toddler stage, the elementary stage, and guess what? Still
here they are older. You don't get to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
That was like during volleyball season, which is coming in August. It's literally volleyball every day, something, practice or game. It's like, man, I would really like to go for a walk on the beach right now.
Nope. Wait till October.
Exactly.
But yeah, and then serving and praying once again to do it selflessly, because ultimately when you're a parent, you are serving your children and your family constantly, and wanting so badly to do it with the right attitude. It should be a joy. And I even think about how the Bible talks about when we give, we're supposed to do it not begrudgingly, but with cheerful hearts. And honestly, that is the same way with our serving. We should be doing it with cheerfully, not begrudgingly, but with pure, cheerful hearts. And that stage is hard too.
Yeah.
That's the kind of coaching teenage stage. And then we're talking about this last stage that really comes in, and it's friendship, when they start to graduate. What are some hard things about that stage? I mean, we haven't been there yet.
Well, I'm just thinking things through, and we're starting to scratch the surface a little bit. What about college?
Yeah.
And whether they stay home for college or they go off somewhere, there's things about each of those things, guiding them through relationships, through heartbreak.
Yes. Oh, that's really hard.
And we've had to do that a little bit with one of our daughters. You're still teaching them. This might be one of the hardest things, is letting go.
Amen.
Letting go.
It is so hard.
Giving them the freedom to make their own decisions and choices, and obviously in situations, I don't care how old my child is, if they're gonna hamper the rest of their life or they're gonna harm themselves, I'm gonna speak up and try to help them with those decisions. Ultimately, they make the choices. But as we've talked about in past episodes, if it's not going to cause lasting harm or hamper them for their life, letting them make some decisions, and even if it's the wrong thing, and learning from it is a great teacher. But you gotta let go of control and let them do that. You still have sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Maybe you're waiting for them to come home from a friend's house, or
just not knowing where they are and what kind of decisions they're making. I just recently had a conversation with some mothers who have adult children, and they said something to the effect of, I thought that when my kids were out of the house and grown, that's when I wouldn't worry about them anymore, but it's really quite worse. I worry more because I don't have any control over what they're doing. I don't have necessarily any involvement in what they're doing. Like, I'm just on the sidelines watching it happen, and sometimes not hearing about it till later or whatever. And you're just not as involved. And they said that they felt like it was harder.
And not knowing where they are all the time. Mm-hmm. But that was like Rusty and Jill having their daughter drive home from South Carolina down here to Florida for the first time from college. Mm-hmm. They took her up to college, and then she drove home herself for Christmas break or something. And it was interesting talking to him about it, and you can kind of sense how the little bit of worry, like, how's the trip going to go, and is the car going to break down, and this or that. And so
the what ifs,
all those what ifs that can cause sleepless night. What about this? Demonstrating more than telling.
Right. Yeah. Because you can talk to your adult child till you're blue in the face. It's not going to do anything, but being that example. And we talk about that through every podcast episode, about being the example that you want them to follow, allowing them to choose. They have to make their own choices, and you have to start letting them and letting go of that. Potentially they might fail too. They might make the wrong choice. And like you said, we have to figure out, okay, when am I going to speak? When am I just going to let, the failing itself be the teacher? And of course, in every stage, serving and praying that you do it selflessly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the part of the hardest during that stage is when they do make a choice that you maybe don't agree with, and it gets them in a little bit of trouble. They fail at something, being the servant to come and help them and comfort them and guide them on how to pick themselves up.
Without the whole, I told you so, shaming them, whatever, that doesn't help anything.
But the point we're trying to make here is that one stage is not easier than another, or one stage is harder than this stage. No. They all have positive and negative aspects. And not only that, but each parent views different stages as better or worse for different reasons and personality preferences. And we talked about this just a little bit at the beginning of the episode. Where for Lysandra, it's potty training was like, that felt like the hardest. For some of you, like, you love the potty training times. And you loved being able to reward them when they use the restroom and all those sorts of things. So you're sitting back here listening, like, how could you not love that? Like, it was so fun.
Good for you.
Yeah. Like for me, the infant stage, although I loved the infant stage, it wasn't my favorite because, once again, they didn't really care if I was there or not. As long as the mom's around and feeding them, they're good to go. And of course, I didn't have the equipment to be able to do that. So, but once they could start, like, I love toddler stage.
Yeah, you did.
Once they start to go and they realize Dad's fun, and we wrestled and I'd throw them around and all that kind of stuff. There are times where I miss those stages.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna cry.
You okay? You need me to take over?
No, I'm okay. I can feel myself tearing up though, just thinking about how much fun we used to have.
Yeah. And you still have fun, but it's different fun.
Yeah.
It
is
so
different.
awesome. Like,
Yeah.
and this is one thing that I also feel like I would like to encourage those of you who are in a younger stage. Don't do what I did. I dreaded the teen years. I was so afraid of the teen years, partially because when I was a teenager, I had a terrible attitude. I thought I knew everything. And ultimately every teenager is like that.
Right.
And I was dreading the teen years, thinking like, we are going to have 4 teenage girls in our home at the same time.
Oh, the number of times when the girls were younger, people were like, oh, dude, like, I feel sorry for you when they're all teenagers and they all sync up and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And I had people, like strangers, constantly telling me in the grocery store, wait till they're all teenagers. Ha ha ha. Like, I mean, it was daily. Anytime we were in the grocery store or at a park, it was every time somebody would say, wait till they're all teenagers.
It was like the apocalypse was coming and we were just counting down until they were all teenagers and then our world would end.
Yeah. And I don't think that I don't think I let it like affect every moment of my life, but I definitely kind of had that cloud hanging over me like it's coming, it's coming. And so what I want to encourage you to do is don't be like me and don't worry about that because it could be the best stage ever. And honestly, right now, as they are teenagers, I am loving it. It's I can't say it's my favorite stage because I loved literally every stage besides potty training. But I'm loving it. Like we have so much fun with our kids. And we kind of are living in that coaching stage, but I told Thomas the other day, I already feel like we're into the friendship stage too. Like that there's a lot of friendship happening in our home with our kids. And it's awesome.
But whatever you're stage in right now, just enjoy it. Love it. Don't wish it away. Take time to cherish every moment gifted you with your family. And I love what Andy and Sandra said in their book. I think maybe this was Sandra. She said, savor each stage. Mm-hmm. And I love that. You know, it's like when you take a bite of your favorite dish after you haven't had it for a while. And you kind of just like savor it. Mm-hmm. All right, that's what we need to be doing with our kids and where they are right now. So take the pictures, take the videos, be the parent who embarrasses them because you're just their biggest fan and you're highlighting everything that happens. And we post a lot on social media.
Yeah.
And we do that so that we have this remembrance, and every day we're looking at the memories to see what happened, and we're able to share those with the kids. And
yep, we take the photos like from our Facebook memories that come up, and we send them to our group text with our family. And so all the kids get to kind of laugh at like what they looked like back then, or, oh, I was so cute, or whatever. And we just get to kind of relive those moments as a family, and it is fabulous. Wishing away moments, though, is not the only danger of comparing parenting stages. Another danger is segregating from other families who are in different parenting stages. If we do this, we miss great opportunities to learn from older families or to help younger families. So these things listed in each stage can be so polarizing. They can separate us from other people in other stages if we let them. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's not like the only family that I can hang out with is a family who has teenagers right now.
exactly.
Although it does a lot of times become easier to like, I think there's like a natural tendency as humans to just find people who are like us, like in our stage, and we gravitate toward them. The kids get along and it's easy and whatever, but we need to make sure that we're also engaging with parents and families who are in different stages.
Because we can either help them or we can learn from them depending on the stage, if they're ahead of us or behind us. But a great lesson shared by the Fountains is this. If there's one thing that we are learning to value so much in recent years, it is the input and friendships of people in all different stages of life, carrying all different burdens. We can and should be able to learn from anyone. And I love that. I love their attitude towards parenting and towards surrounding themselves with people in different stages. And if somebody is a stage behind you, man, you have a great opportunity to connect because you know what the hardships are or at least what they were for you and how you can maybe encourage them, but you also know what the great things are. And so even just being around them, you have an opportunity to enjoy those times with them and remember those times that you had with your kids. And if they're ahead of you, it's like, okay, what are some of the things that you learned along the way? And having some of those people that you respect and admire and that you can learn from.
And who can pray for you too. And the main point that the Fountains wanted to make is this, and it's so good, we have to share this with you. Instead of comparing or wishing we had it different, why don't we strive to think about what someone else might be carrying and be the encourager? Life is too short and too precious to go through it only thinking about our struggles. And then listen to what Paul says in Galatians 6:2. Bear you one another's burdens, and in this way you fulfill the law of Christ. We are to help one another out. We're supposed to care about what other people are going through and help them, be a helping hand. And I think back to Tina and Danny Parks. They are a stage ahead of us in parenting. And when we were having our daughters, we lived in Alabama and we had no family there, like literally no family. It was just you and me and then Catherine. And Tina would take Catherine and treat her like she was her niece. And it was Aunt Tina from the day she was born.
Yep.
And she would love on her. I swear Tina loved Catherine more than we loved Catherine. I mean, that is the kind of person she was.
Yeah.
She helped us in such a great way. And like, there were times when I was tired of holding my daughter because your arms get tired even. And I just needed a break. And she would just come over and grab Catherine and just hold her and love on her. It was amazing.
Yep. Same with Isabella.
Then Isabella came and now she's doing it with 2. And she would drop her twins off at our youth group and take our car seats into her car, buckle them in, and take our kids to her house. And then we would bring the twins to her house after youth group and pick up the babies.
And they were there when our kids were born. I remember when Catherine was born, she was there.
Yep.
And then I think she was watching Catherine.
She took Catherine when Isabella was born.
When Isabella was born.
And brought Catherine to the hospital to meet her new baby sister.
And I remember taking Isabella up to the window, and Tina had Catherine up to the other side of the window and like showing Catherine her new baby sister through the glass.
So cool.
That's the type of friendship we want to have with people. That's the type of impact we want to make on people's lives.
That's bearing one another's
Danny and Tina
yeah.
really took this young couple who had no idea what was going on, no idea what we were getting ourselves into without any support system. And they said, we'll be your support system. We'll be your help. We'll be your family. And there are people around you that could use your help and encouragement.
Yes.
So practically speaking, what does that look like for you? What does it mean to encourage another parent in their stage? And so you it's not just going to happen. You have to be intentional about it. You've got to be looking out for that family, looking out for that single mother or single father or whatever it is. And all right, what stage are they in? What were the biggest struggles? All right, how can I encourage them in that? What's the great joys that I can share with them? So being intentional about that.
That's right. And I love the idea of encouraging other parents in their stage, but I also love the idea of sitting down and listening to parents who have been there. And we've had great opportunities to learn from really amazing parents. I think of Dave and Debbie Tyndall. I think of even my parents. Like, it's been a joy to sit down and kind of learn from my parents too. But Dr. Dave Tice and Anna Tice, we have just recently had more interactions with them than ever before. And they have a lot of good advice for parenting. They have children who love them, love the Lord. They have grandchildren they have great relationships with. And we can learn from them. But how can you learn from someone if you're not close to them or you're not talking with them? You can't.
Right.
You have to make that time together. And so if you are only spending time with families that look like yours or are in the same stage as you are in, you don't have an opportunity to spend time with people who you can learn from. So
True. Get
out of that comfort zone. Invite a retired couple over to your house and just hear their stories about when they parented. Go on a double date with a parent couple who is maybe a stage ahead of you in their parenting, and just ask them some questions like, what was the hardest thing that you felt like in different parenting stages? Or what would you do in this situation? Or will you pray for us? We're having trouble with this, situation, this child, this scenario, whatever. You also need to be honest about your challenges and struggles so they can help you. If you don't tell them what you're struggling with, they can't speak into that.
Yeah.
So you've got to be real. You've got to be honest. You've got to be vulnerable, authentic. Take down the walls, pull back the curtain, say, hey, I can't stand being around my toddler right now. I just don't even like to be around him right now. I'm so tired of it. Let them speak into that. Let them help you. Maybe it's your teenager and you don't even know what to do. They won't listen to you. They've become reclusive. They won't come out of their room. Talk to that older couple who's already been through it. Let them know what's going on in your home. Don't be afraid to share with someone, in that safe environment, in that safe relationship, and hear what they have to say. But you've got to be real and you've got to be open.
Yeah. Because let's face it, we all have an Elizabeth.
Yes.
At times, all of our kids are Elizabeth. So be honest about it. Be open about it. That's when you make the strong connections and can find the support and encouragement that you need during that time.
Yeah. I have found an issue with your naming the naughty child Elizabeth. There are inevitably listeners out there who are named Elizabeth, and that's not fair to them. It's like Karen. I feel very sorry for anyone named Karen right now. It's not fair. Just because you're named Karen doesn't mean you are a Karen. And when did it become a Karen? The other day I heard somebody be like, oh, Nancy. And I'm like, oh, now is Nancy a bad name? Like, I don't know what's happening here. It's not fair to these people who were named this that are good, wonderful people.
But what's fun is we're going to be the ones who start the trend with Elizabeth.
No, I don't want to do that to people who are named Elizabeth. I refuse. I'm digging in my heels on this one, Thomas Robert.
When people ask, like you are asking about the Karen thing, what's this Elizabeth thing about? They're going to be like, oh, yeah, that couple from that thing. They started that. They were going to name their daughter Elizabeth.
No, not the couple. The dude from that thing. And the chick was against it.
I love you. You're so funny.
I love you too. Should we talk about a family meeting?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Family meeting tonight. Just want you to share what your favorite stage of parenting has been up to this point in your family. And even with your kids, like talk about what was your favorite stage, and then share your opinion of the hardest aspect of the hardest stage. Like, okay, this stage was kind of hard, and this is really what made it difficult. This is what made it challenging. Discuss who you can encourage and how you will encourage them. And talk about what couples have already parented your stage and who you will spend time listening to. So we have friends whose kids are already in college, already out of the house. Some of them, their kids are already having kids. And so we have people that we can go to and say, hey, we're moving into that territory very quickly. What are the tips you would have for us? What are the things to watch out for? What do you feel like you did well? What maybe you wish you could have done better? And kind of doing a little bit of homework about what's going to be coming up.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information to be helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like to shoot us a text or call us, you can send a voice message at 904-257-3062.
All right, and we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting. We are going to talk about a marriage question that we have been asked many times. Here's the question.
Okay.
Can I be married and have friends of the opposite sex?
That is an interesting question.
We're going to dig into that next week.
A lot of intricacies with that question. Mm-hmm. So we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. Hopefully by next week.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
All right. Guess what we forgot to tell everybody? How you knocked it out of the park for Valentine's Day. So now all of our YouTube viewers are wondering, what did you do?
What did you do?
You want to tell them?
No, I think you should brag about me for a little bit. I'm tired of tooting my own horn.
Allow me to toot your horn.
Toot.
Listen, this guy is amazing. He's
That's true.
handsome.
That's true.
He's gorgeous.
No lies. Present.
If he did this to me, I'd be so mad, but he doesn't even care. He loves his face touched. He's a weirdo. Okay, but he's so sweet and so wonderful and so giving, so loving.
Yes.
He had this great idea to do something special for me, something that he really felt like he would not enjoy, but he wanted to do it because he loved me. And so he did this on Valentine's Day. And he ordered 2 canvases that we would paint together. So he painted his canvas, I painted mine. We watched an instructional video as we painted our canvases, and it was really fun.
Got a kit from, it's called this Painting to Go, but go as in Van Gogh, G-O-G-H. So Painting to Go, if you feel like that's something you want to do, it's a great creative date idea. And literally everything comes in the kit. Mm-hmm. So the easel, the canvas, the paints, and they send you a link when you purchase to the tutorial video.
Mm-hmm. And you can do it in the comfort of your own home, because I would never want him to take me to one of those like studios like to paint with a bunch of strangers. Like I'm not against strangers or anything, but it's not
There
intimate.
is danger.
Yeah. It's not intimate and close like this was. This was really fun. It was just the 2 of us. We enjoyed it. We could stop the video when we wanted to, or go back and re-listen to whatever the instruction was. And you thought that this was going to be something you would hate.
I really honestly did. I thought you would enjoy it and I would not care for it at all.
But?
I was dead on.
Nah, that's not what you told me this morning, you liar. He said to me this morning, and I quote, "That was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. I really enjoyed that." And I said, my question was, so you enjoyed that for yourself or you enjoyed that for me? And he said, I enjoyed it for myself.
And I have to admit, the painting doesn't suck. Like totally.
Really? I was thinking, I'm not going to want to hang this thing in my home.
She's going to talk to you. I'm going to go get the painting so you can see it.
Okay. So I was thinking like, I don't want to hang this thing in my home before we painted it, because it's going to it's not going to match. Like it's not going to line up. His is going to look completely different from mine. And it's going to look like 2 kindergartners painted this. And then we have to have this on our wall and look at it all the time. But it actually turned out pretty well. We were able to make our lines meet pretty well. Both sides look a little different, but they are close enough that it's not terrible. So you'll be the judge of it, though.
Okay. So
yeah, put them together. There we go. So I mean, they're pretty good. They're pretty close. I think that I'm not gonna hate having them on my wall.
Yeah.
And it's so us too.
It was a lot of fun.
He even did a great job in picking out which style we did, as far as like the beach scene with the like heart in the sand. It's so us.
Yeah. Everything around here is his beach, so.
You knocked it out of the park, baby.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
Something different.
Really
so get outside your comfort zone.
Yeah. Another Valentine's Day, he got me ballroom dancing lessons.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? We never could go because the instructor's class was full, and then eventually they like closed down or something. So we never did end up getting to go, but that was the gift, and it truly was the thought that counted.
Oh, one more great thing about the kit. They give you a lot of extra paint. So we have a lot of extra paint left over, so then you can just like paint each other.
Oh my goodness. We got to end this.
All right. I got some painting to do, so I'll see you later.